Yo, what is up, y'all? It's Cone back here again tonight with another episode of After the Buzzer, the show where I recap the NBA games from the night. There's a lot of stuff that I want to get into in this video, so before I get into it real quick, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Helps me out a ton. I really appreciate it. But as you can probably tell from the title and thumbnail of this video, I do want to focus on LeBron James in this video. I'm not going to focus on the Lakers as a whole. I've made a million videos about them, how disappointing they've been. I don't need to go over it anymore. I'm 100% sure most of you are probably sick about hearing about them, so I won't cover them, really. I'm just going to focus on LeBron. Lakers beating the Wizards tonight 122-109, and in this game, LeBron James, which, starting at center, I feel like that's just kind of a fun thing to mention, dropped 50 for the second time in like a week. I think this is back-to-back home games where he's dropped 50 or more points, which is absolutely absurd. 50 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 6 of 9 from 3, I believe 18 of 25 shooting. Perfect from the free throw line. I think he had like 34, 36 in the third. So he had like 14 or 16 of these points in the fourth quarter. It was ridiculous. And just watching it, like, it's incredible what he's doing. It really should not be possible what LeBron is doing, not just with his age, but the mileage, the amount of games that this man has played, and he still is this good. It doesn't make sense. And I know with LeBron James, like, it seems normal. It seems like, oh, he's been doing this for so long. But right now, if I asked you, who's leading the league in scoring right now, who would you say? Would you say Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Trae Young, Luka Doncic? Who would you say? Kevin Durant even? Steph Curry? Probably not Steph Curry. He's not been great this season. But I don't think you'd say LeBron James, unless you knew before coming into this, in which case you cheated. That's not fair. But it's LeBron James. And the fact that he's doing that at age 37 with all of those great scores that I just mentioned, and there were names I didn't even mention, like a Jason Tatum comes to mind just off the top of the head. The fact that he's doing that with all those phenomenal scores in the league at age 37 in his 19th season, it's unreal. It genuinely, I don't think it's ever happened. I didn't do research on that before the video, so if I'm wrong, please let me know. But I don't think it's ever happened. And so what he's doing, it's historic. Like, he's not even a guy who, over the course of his career, is primarily known for his scoring. He's known to be one of the best playmakers of all time. And still, he's going to catch Kareem next year. And this year, he could lead the entire league in scoring, despite being that age, 19th season. I know you've heard those things a million times, but like, there's a reason you keep hearing about them, because it doesn't happen. We don't see players of this age. We don't see players in their 19th season play up to this level. Look at guys like Melo, for example, who, give him credit, has really restructured his game to be a really solid role player on this Lakers team. But like, he came out of the same draft and he's nowhere near this level. What LeBron James is doing, it doesn't make sense. It really is not normal. It's greatness. And I know there's a lot of people on Twitter, and probably a lot of you coming to this video, that are going to comment down below like, oh, the Lakers suck, whatever. I don't really care. It does not mean anything to me when LeBron is having a game like he had tonight, when LeBron really has been incredible all season in face of all of that adversity with the way that Anthony Davis has been hurt most of the year, the acquisitions that they brought in. This season is not on LeBron James. This bad season is not on him. He's been phenomenal. At worst, he's still a top 6 player in the league, doing it at an age where, at this point, most people expected that LeBron would kind of hand the keys to Anthony Davis. That was kind of most people's perspective on things when they traded for AD, is that by this point in his career, LeBron wouldn't even be like the guy anymore. It would be Anthony Davis who would have taken over, been a top 5 player in the league, and he would be kind of the face of this Lakers team, the number 1 option, and trying to win a championship. But instead, LeBron has had to continue to carry the scoring load with his injuries. It's just absurd. Like, this wasn't supposed to happen. And yet LeBron is doing it. He's making do with it the best that he can. You know, the Lakers are 2-6 in their last 8 games. And you know the 2 games that they've won? The 2 that LeBron James dropped 50. That shows what kind of carrying he's had to do over this recent stretch just for them to get a win. Not even for them to like make the, like, you know, fight for the 1 seed or whatever. Just to get a win over not great teams, LeBron has to drop 50. Like, that's not something we typically see. And the fact that he's like, okay, sure, yeah, I'll go out and do it, it's ridiculous. It doesn't make sense. And if you're one of those people that is like talking about the Lakers being bad and everything like that, like, stop. There's no, like, what do you have to gain from discounting a performance like this? Just appreciate his greatness. And that's really kind of the point I want to make here is what LeBron James is doing is not normal. appreciate him while he's here, because I know he's been doing this for 19 years, and so it probably feels like normal to a lot of you. I know I have a good bit of younger viewers, so for a lot of y'all, this is all you know. Like, you know this, like, LeBron James dominance. And so, like, even for me, being 21 years old, like, since I have memories, LeBron James has been in the league and been dominating. So, while it feels like he's going to play forever, he's not. He's 37 years old. He's probably got at most like 4 or 5 seasons left in him. And then he's gone. He's going to catch Kareem. He's going to break some more records. And then he's just gone. One of the greatest to ever do it. And so the fact that he continues to do this in his older age is so impressive. And I really, really appreciate it. I'm in a point in my life right now where I'm about to graduate college. And so I've been kind of very reflective on things and just very appreciative of the things that I'm witnessing, and basketball being one of my passions, especially watching what LeBron is doing is incredible. He's one of my favorite players of all time. He's one of the reasons why I fell in love with the sport of basketball, watching the things that he does. Just appreciating his greatness, and I highly recommend you do too if you don't already. A great example for me is I hated Kevin Durant for a while. After he left, I just wanted to see him lose like desperately. That didn't go well, of course, with the Warriors winning a couple of titles, but I really did not like Kevin Durant. And to be honest, that faded kind of fast, because as I got older, I was like, this dude's insane. I just need to kind of appreciate this. And sure, I wasn't happy when the Warriors won those titles with KD, because I didn't want to see him succeed outside of Oklahoma City. I thought he should have come back. But all I can do is really appreciate it. What he does coming back from that devastating injury and just being just as good, if not better, it's insane. It really doesn't make sense. Similar to the way that LeBron doesn't make sense, what KD does on a nightly basis doesn't make sense. And while he's much younger than LeBron, his career still is not super far away from ending. So I've kind of just learned to appreciate what he does, and I've really put all that aside. I've had a lot of people ask me in the past if I still hate Kevin Durant. I don't. I'm completely over it. I really appreciate what he does. He's one of the most fun players in the league to watch. That what he did is like 6 years old at this point. I let it go. And so, if you're one of those people that isn't appreciating what LeBron James does, your first idea, really with any basketball player, is to try and discount what they're doing, kind of just be like, oh, well, he did it against this team. Oh, well, sure, LeBron scored 50, but what's their record? I don't understand what you necessarily get out of that. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. Just appreciate what LeBron James is doing right now, the records that he's breaking, the fact that he's going to pass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to be the all-time leading scorer in the NBA. Do you know how crazy that is? It's insane. And so, regardless of what happens with the Lakers, regardless of really your biases, whatever, just appreciate greatness. I highly recommend it. It's way more fun than hating, because, you know, it's like when you look back in years and you're telling your kids, like, about your time watching basketball, watching LeBron James, they're like, what was that like? Would you rather say it was amazing, he was one of my favorite players, or even if he was not your favorite player, I just really appreciate what he was doing and it was surreal to watch? Or would you rather say that you're making like lame Mickey jokes on Twitter? So moving on from that game, I do also want to talk about Greg Popovich, of course, passing Don Nelson, I believe is his name, for the all-time record in coaching wins. He's now the most winning coach of all time. Insane. And that's another thing I want to talk about in terms of like kind of my age thing. Like, Greg Popovich has been coaching longer than I've been alive. I know I also have a lot of older viewers, so a lot of y'all have been watching the whole time he's been coaching, but he started coaching 4 years before I was born. Like 1996. That's crazy to me. He's been coaching that whole time. And the fact that these last few years are the first time he hasn't had like sustained success over the course of that career is even more insane. It's really just a testament to how great he is, the greatest coach of all time, in my opinion. He's another guy that really just appreciate him while he's here. So many players speak so highly of him that I don't really know how many people actually don't like Greg Popovich. I don't think there's many people out there. He's amazing. It's super cool to watch. And I know, once again, Spurs not very good, but just passing this milestone, continuing to rack up accolades, proving, in my opinion, that he is the greatest coach of all time. It's cool. And I'm super happy for Greg Popovich. He's one of my favorite coaches in the league. I like this Spurs team. DeJounte Murray had a pretty good game. I'm really helping to secure this win. Donovan Mitchell had 24, 7, and 6 for the Jazz, 13 and 16 for Rudy Gobert. So they had a couple decent performances, but overall, it just was the Spurs game, winning by 2 points. DeJounte, as I said, had 27, 9, and 4. You had 15 from Zach Collins, which was pretty impressive from him. 15 from Jakob Poeltl with 11 rebounds. 13 and 10 for Keldon Johnson, so a couple of double-doubles there. Shout out to the Spurs, getting a big win, getting Greg Popovich that win to become the most winning coach in NBA history, which is crazy to me, because that's an insane number of wins to be coaching that long, to do it, and to really do it just like over this kind of sustained stretch has been even more impressive. So shout out to Greg Popovich, the GOAT. Moving on from that, the Boston Celtics played the Detroit Pistons, beating them by 11. But Cade Cunningham is kind of ridiculous, what he's been doing, climbing up the rookie ladder very quickly. And I feel like he's very... I think there was a draft comparison where someone said that he was kind of like a Chris Middleton type, which people didn't like. But if they were referring to the fact that both of them hate the Celtics and love to go off against them, then I can kind of see it. Cade Cunningham at 27, 8, and 6 against the Celtics. For some reason, every time they play, he goes off. So if you're a sports bettor, which, by the way, if you are, on PrizePicks, use code CONE. Highly recommend it. But bet on Cade Cunningham, I guess, against the Celtics, because it really does feel like all the time he goes off against them. Celtics, once again, getting a win. They just continue to win. Jason Tatum with 31. It's the usual for him. 22 for Jaylen Brown, 20 for Marcus Smart, 11 for Derek White. Just a usual day at the office for them. Pretty balanced attack, a lot of solid defense. The Pistons scored 2 field goals in the fourth quarter. One came with 30 seconds left and one came with 3 seconds left. The Pistons as a team scored 13 points. So before the last 30 seconds, they had 9 points in the quarter. And they were all free throws. So, Celtics are going to Celtic, I guess, with that defense. Moving on from that, I need to apologize to Minnesota Timberwolves fans. I jinxed y'all. I called it in that video. If you don't know, whenever I make a video about a team, I kind of just seem to curse them. It's kind of the way it goes. And so the Minnesota Timberwolves, I just made a video about them, which if you're a Wolves fan, go check that out. But I talked about how great they were, and then immediately after, they lost to the Orlando Magic, which I believe actually happened last time I made a positive video about them, which is kind of ridiculous that it's happened twice now. I'm sorry. I had a lot of Timberwolves fans reach out to me on Twitter and be like, I can't believe you've done this to us, that you jinxed us like this. I didn't mean to. I said in the video that I hope this doesn't jinx y'all because I like your team. You know, just can't help it. I'm going to make videos and you just happen to be the next recipient of the curse. So I apologize, but Karl Anthony Towns did have a great game with 21, 13, and 4, 25 from Anthony Edwards. The Magic were just too much. 20, 10, and 5 for Wendell Carter. 27 and 12 from Mo Bamba, which was crazy. 15, 6, and 6 from Cole Anthony. Fultz had 14 and 7 assists in just 18 minutes. He's been phenomenal since he came back. It's been cool to see. He's a guy that I really want to see succeed. And the Magic have a really fun situation kind of going on there in the backcourt between Jalen Suggs, Cole Anthony, Markelle Fultz, as well as RJ Hampton, who I think is pretty clearly the fourth guy there, but he still is a solid guard. So they've got a pretty fun guard rotation. It's going to be interesting to see how they figure that out, like who starts in the future, because none of them are tall enough to start the 3. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting, but the Magic just have a ton of young talent. I think they've won like 3 of their last 5 or 2 of their last 5. Either way, it's a big number for a Magic team that's only won 18 on the season. So shout out to the Magic getting this win. And finally, the Memphis Grizzlies beating the New York Knicks. It was a pretty close game in this one. The Knicks were actually up pretty big going into the fourth quarter. They outscored the Grizzlies by 14 in the third. And then they got outscored by 13 in the fourth. So it didn't matter. Grizzlies outscoring them 31-18 in the fourth quarter, winning 118-114. John Morant with 37 and 8. Typical John Morant stuff, typical day at the office for him. 12 for Desmond Bane. You had 13 from Zaire Williams, 13 from Jaren Jackson Jr., including a couple really key blocks in this one, making an all-defensive case. The Knicks tried to fight back, like I mentioned, 36, 12, and 6 from Julius Randle, 10 and 16 from Mitchell Robinson, 23-7 from RJ Barrett. You had 18 from Alec Burks, 12 from Fournier, 11 from Quickly. Like, that kind of sounds like a box score of the Knicks winning. It wasn't, and it kind of just is indicative of the Knicks season. Things look good on paper, don't really happen actually on the game, so sorry Knicks fans that you have to keep going through this. Sorry. But I think that's all I want to talk about in this video. Let me know what you thought about the games tonight, what you thought about what I said with the whole LeBron James stuff. I appreciate y'all watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe once again. It helps me out a ton. Seriously, you don't realize how much it helps me out, as well as your comments. I appreciate y'all a ton. Support's been kind of crazy recently, so thank you so much. I will see you all later. Real one, say it back.